evening, guys. We'll be starting in just a second. All right, good evening, guys.
Hello.
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 Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
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 All right. Sorry about the lateness. I was trying to get some other people's code. All right. Can everybody see okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started for the evening. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. All right, guys. Good evening and welcome to the second night of class for the Pop Your You Know What class. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get started. I gave everybody a little bit of time tonight so that they could get on for the late people that usually get in. Just a couple of announcements. Whenever the class is in, you always will get an email when I update the digital download link. So after the class ends tonight, give me about an hour to upload the video to the private YouTube page. You'll be able to see the video from there. If you missed the actual live class, or if you need to go back and see anything. If you watch the video from a desktop computer, you can go back and download the video as well on Zoom. If you're watching it from a desktop computer, because you can record it from Zoom as well. All right, but you will have access to the link, the forever link as well, to go on there and get it. If you have any problems, just remember to email me. Please email me. I can't send you anything in a DM pertaining to any documents, so please send me an email and I can get you the documents that you need if you're missing anything. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started so we don't prolong everybody. This is probably this is a longer class. I want to make sure you guys get everything that's into this. Again, this is a 6-inch round that we baked the cake on last night. What I did was I stacked my 2 layers. I have 2 6-inch round 2-layer cakes. I filled my 2 layer. If you have any questions, the chat is open as well, and I can see the any questions that come up on the chat. So just let me know. You can say the thing right there. I have my 2 6-inch rounds. I also have a 6-inch board in between here, so that that's my guide, and also that's my support because the cake is again so tall. This cake in particular is about 8.5 inches tall. So it's a little bit taller than your normal size cakes if you are working with, if you're used to working with shorter tiers or any style cakes like that. So the board in the middle is actually your support that will help you to support the weight of the 2 cakes. If you didn't have that support in the middle, you would more than likely have a lot of lean in the cake, which will cause the cake to eventually fall in. Because there is a little bit of weight to this cake. There is the bubble gum and everything on there, okay? For the layers, when you are filling your layers, I always use a bag to fill my layers. So what I do is I attach my my 1 millimeter tip to a bag. That's your standard Wilson cupcake tip, and I always use a bag to fill in my layers with icing. The reason why I do that is so that when you cut into the cake, you always have an even amount of icing inside of the cake, and that's what you want. You always want an even amount of icing. You do not want to cut into it and anything. Okay. Well, the skewers only work when you're supporting something on top of the cake. So the board, you got to think about it from a, I guess from a architectural standpoint. You have weight on top that's going to be going down into the cake. The skewers are not going to do anything but make the cake slide down. So I mean, they're not really supporting anything. If there was a cake on top of here, if this was if this was an 8-inch round and you had a 6-inch round on top of the cake, then you would have to put some support in there. These skewers would go in there to support the weight of the 6-inch cake. So this is what the board is in there to support both of them. Okay. All right. So I told you guys that this was going to be a different. We weren't focusing on sharp edges on this particular cake design. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add some icing to the top of my cake. All right. Just get a good generous layer of icing and just ice the top of the cake. Same way we normally do it. It goes from there. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got a share screen somewhere. One second, guys. We got someone's screen other than mine. All right. All right. Can everybody see me well?
Any screen. Any screen.
Yes.
Can everybody see my screen? Is
No.
the only one
No.
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 Okay.
Penny screen. No, Penny is just walk off the screen.
So oh shit, see? No, it's so silly. All right, so is it just my screen up?
No, it's the black screen of Kayla's.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys. All right, are we good now?
No.
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 Okay, there is a button on everybody. Everybody has some functions on their screen. Make sure that your camera is off on those buttons.
There we go.
You're good now.
Nope.
You good?
No.
The camera is off on mine.
Mine's too.
It's on active mode. It's not here right now, so that's why whoever speaks, that's whose screen pops up on
The one at the bottom that's not open.
All right, I think that was it.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
All right.
No.
No.
All right. I thought there was a setting on there. Okay. I'm
I
sorry.
think once you put it back on mute, it'll stay on your screen.
Yeah, take us.
Okay. All right. So we're going back to it now.
Right.
All right. So here we go. Now we have iced the top of the cake. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start icing the side. So remember that when you're icing cake, you always, for one, I always ice my cakes or work with all of my cakes when they're chilled or frozen. I never work with a room temperature cake. So you always want to remember when you're icing a cake, you always want to ice the cake icing to icing, never icing to cake. So as soon as you get started, you always want to move the icing that you have on there on actual icing and not putting icing, dragging your cake into the icing, okay? So that's when, even though we call it a crumb coat, it's supposed to catch the crumbs. It also can get in the way and you end up having more crumbs in the cake than you should have in there, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and as you can see, I'm spreading the icing on the actual icing. And these are just some of your buttercream basics. I'll make sure you get all of it. Spread it in there. As you can see, as I'm icing the cake, you don't see any crumbs in the icing. That's because I'm putting the icing on the icing and not putting the icing to the cake. All right, you want to get all the way to the bottom of the board. As you can see, also see that I have a 6-inch cake board under here, and it's also on the drum, on the actual cake drum itself. Make sure you notice that it's on a cake drum. I don't care how many trends come out from all these people that's doing cakes. You put your cake on a cake drum, not a cake board, for a display. All right. So I'm just gonna make sure I get all of this icing worked in. And notice that I'm using my turntable and my spatula. I'm allowing the turntable and the spatula to do the work for me. Get familiar with you using your turntable and allow the turntable to do the work for you, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna use my bench scraper. And I'm just gonna go around the cake. So that board that's in the middle of the cake is my guiding point. That's where I know where to hit it when I'm scraping the icing off the cake. So I want to make sure that my scraper hits that board that's in the middle, and you can actually see the board shining through on there. You can kind of see it in there. It's very faint, but that's exactly what you want, because that lets you know that you've got enough icing on there to get all the way to fill in that gap. So just say you were using, and just say your cake layers didn't bake up all the way and you had a smaller cake than you actually had a board. Well, that board is gonna help you to build up the icing. So just say if the cake was 5 inches and the board was 6 inches, you can push that icing in using that board to give you enough space, enough gap in there to fill in, so you won't be missing, like you got a whole chunk of cake missing out of there. So I'm using that same board as my guide as I ice the top of my cake as well. Remember I told you that we're not focusing on sharp edges on this cake because we actually want the ridges at the top of the cake. Okay. All right, so we've gotten it all iced up. Next thing you want to do once you get this part done is go ahead and put it back in the refrigerator, or if you have room in your freezer, I know y'all got Corona Land food in your freezer, so you probably ain't got no room in your freezer. So want to make sure that you just get it back in there and get it chilled. Move some of them grapes out the way and put it back in the refrigerator. Okay. So I got enough room to actually add mine to my little mini fridge I got up in here. I think I got enough room. All right. Any questions so far on where we are right now? You can post them in the chat there and type any questions that you might have so far. If you're working alone, now is the time. I told you that we were doing the icing for the hair to start with chocolate icing. So if you didn't have chocolate icing, you could always just start from white, but you also going to have a lot of color in your icing, which causes the bitter taste in your icing. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to make some room up in here. All right, I'm gonna put this in the fridge while we work on the next part. All right, so moving on to the next part. Anybody have any questions? All right, can you use chocolate ganache if you don't have chocolate icing? You can. You can use chocolate ganache. You just got to make sure that it's already hard if you're going to be using it to actually pipe with, so it has been already set. Okay. Let's keep the questions related to this class. So we want to make sure we don't confuse nobody. I want to keep everything related to this class here. All right. So I've already got my chocolate icing, and it's just regular chocolate icing. The easiest way to get black is to start from chocolate. It's already at the darkest color that you can go. So I'm just gonna add in some black. I'm using the Sunny Side Up Bakery color black. You can use whatever kind of black that you have, the Wilton black, if you have the Chef Line colors, they all do master colors, they all do the same thing. They're gonna get you to achieve the same color. I found that the Sunny Side colors usually are not really bad tasting. They don't have that bitterness to it. So as you can see, it changed pretty quickly because it was black. I mean, it was brown, so it was already a dark brown. So I'm gonna add a little bit more because we don't want her to have gray hair. We want black hair. Okay. Have to add some more light over here so I can make sure y'all can see. Now remember, if you add too much color or too much gel color in there, you can cause it to break down your icing where it becomes too liquefied, and then you'll have to add some kind of sugar to stiffen it back up. Yes, I like Americolor as well. All of the Chef Masters, Americolor, they all make good colors. But I mean, I like their bright colors, but stuff like this, I mean, Hobby Lobby, it all work the same. It pretty much do all the same thing anyway. Some of it just, you have to look out for that aftertaste that it has on colors, okay? So I have my black. So the thing about colors is now blacks, hot pinks, purples, reds, all those colors like that. You have to remember, the longer the color sits, the darker it's gonna get. So this black, why I said go ahead and mix it up now, because the longer it sit over here, it's gonna get darker. All right. So while the color is sitting, Now we're going to go ahead and get our image out, okay? Now, if you had any issue with printing the image, I told you guys last night to email me last night if you didn't get the actual Word file. But what I did do was go back in. Everybody should have gotten an email with the new link to the digital download, because every time I make a change to the digital download, you will get an email notification saying that you have an updated link for the digital download. So on that new link, it actually had the Word version of the image, which is this image here. Okay, it's the Word version of it. So you want to start out with this image. You want to go ahead. I try to get, while my cakes are chilling, for this design, what I did, I went ahead and got all of my stuff like this out of the way, because that gave you just, you know, something else to do while you was waiting on the cake to, you know, firm up a little bit. So I started out with just taking my scissors, and I used my scissors to get as much of the design as possible before I use my X-Acto knife. So I got my X-Acto knife. You know, you can get those from Walmart. You can get them from not Sam's, the dollar store, mostly anywhere, Michael's, all those places sell them. But you want to use, you can use your scissors to get as much of the design cut out as possible without having to use a blade, especially if you're not really good with cutting stuff out with blades and all that. Use your scissors for the most part. And then remember, all of this hair and stuff at the top, you're not really gonna see it, but you just want to get a general outline of the hair so that you can know as a guide to guide you when you're doing the piping on it. So it doesn't have to be exact what the puff is on here, okay? All right, I'll get this all out. Now I printed my image on the wafer paper. If you're using edible image papers or anything like that, it's completely fine. Use what you have, whatever you normally do your edible images on. You know, you can change up this design. You can also find different ones online. I think what I Googled for this when I first seen it, I woke up one morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and I had this design in my mind. And I went on Google and I just Googled Afrocentric women. And then I got a few things and I went back and Googled like black woman with puffs and all that. So utilize your search engines. I know that there are people who are on Etsy that sell all these images and stuff, but I promise you, you can find this stuff online if you look for it. You do not have to go and pay nobody for an image because it's not like they created the image themselves. They got it from somewhere. So if you do a little bit of research, you can find it yourself. All right. So I got my image cut out for the most part on there. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get all of our prep stuff out of the way. All right. So I know you guys asked me yesterday, was there a certain mold or anything I used for the earrings? It's not a mold. All I did was use a tip, and this is just one of them Russian tips. And because it was the biggest one that I had to make the design that I wanted. So I used one tip to cut out the circle with, then I went back and found a smaller one to go inside to cut out the inner part of the earring. So it wasn't nothing special. There wasn't no special tools or anything. I told you, whenever I do cakes and stuff, I try to use anything that I have already at the house that I ain't got to go out and buy. That's why I was telling you, don't depend on a huge supply list when it comes to classes for me, because I would rather you use the stuff that you already have at home rather than trying to go out and buy all of this stuff. Okay. All right, so I'm just using a little cornstarch on my table. All right, so for fondant, for stuff like this, any little detail stuff like this that people are not gonna eat, just get you some fun, any kind of fondant. Whether it be Wilton or anything like that. I've seen people say that they mix the two fondants together, Wilton, and they mix together, excuse me, Hobby Lobby fondant as well. I don't know. Well, I don't know why, but I guess if you just trying to get a particular taste, if you get that particular with the taste of the fondant that you want, you probably start making your own. If you want to taste a certain way, okay. All right, so I'll bring y'all in a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some Tylose powder to my earrings and my backing. You definitely want to add the Tylose powder to your earrings because you want the earrings to be hard unless you're doing this in advance. Now you can prep in advance to do this so you can have the earrings and everything already hard. But if you just got, you want to go ahead and get it out the way, I would suggest using Tylose powder. Okay. I'm going to grab my other tool and a rolling pin. Just a small rolling pin. Okay. And I know everybody has these little tools at home. Everybody got these little things, but when they first started out, they thought they was gonna be making flowers, and then you done looked at all them Wilton books and everybody and thought you was gonna make flowers, and you ain't touching that damn flower. So those tools, go find if you got them, you can use those tools, but you don't need them. You could also get a like a toothpick and a knife to do the same thing. So I'm gonna roll this out now. I'm gonna show you the trick to this for when you're using wafer paper. Good thing about wafer paper is it absorbs whatever. So if it's a little moisture on it, it's gonna pretty much flatten out right into the. And the only reason why I put this on fondant is because it just gives a little bit more of a firm backing for when it goes on the cake. Make sure you don't put Tylose in this part of the fondant because you won't be able to move the image if you do that, okay, at all. It's gonna be stuck and it's gonna be sitting out looking real hard. All right, so if you got a little, you can use water for this. I'm gonna use a little piping gel to put on the back of this sheet because I like piping gel, it just sticks better. It's almost like edible glue. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of piping gel on the back of it. Yes, Tylose powder makes fondant harden extremely fast. Depending on how much you put in there, it will be rock hard. Like before we even get to the next part of the cake, it would have been already rock hard. So if you're gonna use Tylose powder, you better use it and then put it on whatever you put it on, the cake or whatever. You better go ahead and get it done then. Otherwise, your cake, your figures or whatever gonna be rock hard. We use Tylose powder when we're in a rush to do stuff. I used to use it on my crowns and stuff like that when I wanted crowns to dry fast or when I needed something immediately and I wanted a last minute order or something. I used it on the show because we wanted the figures to be dry before we got there and we mailed some of the stuff off. So Tylose powder just made it rock hard and it didn't move. So add a little bit of piping gel to the back of it. Take your fondant, if you have a fondant smoother, or if you have a little sheet of paper or something, and you want to put it on there, and don't get your hands on it, only because you got to remember that the image is white. So if it's white, it's going to pick up your handprints and all of it. Also, it will pick up the black from the hair. So be very careful not to have the face have all these different colors and stuff up in there. Don't be like me, because on the first time I did it, it had all the colors all over the face, and I had to pull the image off and do it again. All right, so now you want to take your X-Acto blade, and all you're doing is going around, tracing around the hair and the face to get your image out. Okay. I'm just cutting the image out, just tracing it out to get it out of here. Take off your excess, okay? This is when you want to go in and get all the little details. Make sure you get all of that out, because you don't want to have this big old clump of the design just sitting there, so on funded like that. All right, so it should look like that when you get done, and it has just a little backing on it. Kind of look like Mickey Mouse, but it's just on your back, your funded backing, and that just gives it a little bit of more support. All right, so now we're gonna take this funded that we got here. Now we're gonna make the earrings, okay? So I'm gonna add a little bit of funded, more to it. All right, now I'm gonna add in my Talos powder. This is where I'm adding in. And if you were measuring it, if I had to say measuring, I would say do it a couple of teaspoons at a time if you're worried about it. If you're using an edible image printer, you can use the wafer paper for that printer. Most of the people will tell you that when it comes to edible image printers, you won't hear me talk much about them because I think they're a waste of money. People do not eat edible images. If you put that in your clause or whatever and let people know that even though it is an image that you need to pull the image off, you can just print it out on a regular printer. Because the people who you think that are using edible image printers, they're really not. They're using really good color printers and printing it out on edible sheets and that's why they put the funded backing on it, so that it doesn't touch, the image doesn't touch the cake. The smartness. So if you didn't know the industry secret, there you go. Okay? That's why when people ask me about edible printers and all that, I be telling them, don't waste your money on it. You can get this wafer paper from Amazon. Go in there and get it off. All right. So you do not want to roll this too thin. Remember your earrings, so you want the backing to sit out a little bit. So I'm just going to take it out a little bit, and I'll roll it out. And I'm going to show you how thick that you want it. All right, so if you can see that, that's how thick you want it. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna take my little tip, and I'm just gonna cut a circle. I'm gonna cut 2 circles out. Okay. And I'm gonna take another tip, and I'm gonna cut out. You know what? I think they need to be a little bit bigger. So let me find out. Let me get a bigger tip. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna use the tip at all because I use whatever I got to do when you're doing stuff. So, because I'm not buying no molds and cutters just to cut out no circle, baby. And I sure ain't finna go buy no template to make no earrings. I went online. I looked at a picture. I typed in ghetto girl earrings, and these the first things came up. No, I'm just playing. I knew what to search. I searched for the particular earring that I wanted. Okay, yeah, these are bigger. All right, so I'm gonna take that and cut out 2 circles. Just roll it across here just so I can soften up that edge. I'm gonna get one more just to be safe. Okay, there we go. So you only need 2 of them. All right, so you got 2 circles. That's what you start out with. All right, y'all can see that so far. You got 2 circles. Now you're gonna take a smaller tip. Something smaller, and you're gonna cut out the inner circle. Okay. All right. So you started out with a circle. You're going to use another circle cutter, another tip, and cut out an inner circle. All right? Simple. Real simple, okay? Got it? All right. So now, while this is here, go ahead and do this. Because this got Tylos in it, remember. Go ahead and take your piece off. Now, this is for you funded people. Now, some of y'all want to be fancy and go get gelatin and make gelatin balls and make gum out of the gelatin balls. But you want to just make enough, take out enough to just kind of get an idea of how big you want it to be, how big you want your bubble gum pop to be. So because you want to use this same funding to do that, okay? So I got, this is big enough for me. That's a big enough size ball there. And I'm going to add a little bit of pink to it, okay? Don't go overboard with the pink. All you need is just a little bit. It's just a faint little, bubble gum color. So I'm just going to use a little bit. All right? This is why they used to tell y'all to use the toothpicks in all them videos. Use a toothpick and stuff so you can get the right amount. All right, so mix this up and get my little bubble gum color. Notice how I'm using time management right now. So while my cake is chilling, I have done my backing to go for my image. I've cut out the pre-cut for my earrings so that we get ready to do the earrings. And now I'm doing my gumball, okay? So you want to mix that up. That's pink enough for me. It could be a little bit pinker. Depends on if they got some of that bubblicious bubble gum. The one that be getting real hard when you pop it. Yes, the gumball has Tylos in it. The gumball is the same funded that I use to cut the earring out with. It's the same funded. No. No, I don't use all that. See, that's too technical. Before all that stuff came out, see, that's new school stuff. You got to go back to old school. We didn't have all this shit when I got started doing cakes. That was 13 years ago. We just let this shit sit out and dry. So use Tylos powder. If you use enough Tylos powder, you will have, it'll be just enough. All right, so there go the ball for the gumball there, okay? I ain't buying no dehydrator and all that stuff. I just think that's excessive. People be using it for the cookies and all that stuff. And just sit them shit on the rack and let it dry. All right, now with this right here, now you want to get you a toothpick, okay? Let me tell you what to do with the toothpick. Well, I gotta get one first, so I can tell you what to do with it. Let me get a toothpick. You just need one or two toothpicks. Okay. I'm gonna use these little skewers for mine. I'm just gonna cut it down. So because the first cake I did was styrofoam, I want to make sure that this is long enough. So I'm just gonna dip my skewer or toothpick or whatever you choose to use in a little piping gel so that it looks like this. Okay. So it looks just like it's a gumball pop. Like that. You popping the gum. Okay. Stop popping that damn gum. Okay. So now you just want to let that sit aside, let it dry. Okay. You can't do nothing else with that Tylo's powder, so you might as well just sit it inside of it. You ain't gonna do nothing with it. Let it dry from there. Okay. All right. Now you want to get back to your earrings. The earrings look hard, but they're not. This is all it is. Okay. So you want to cut out one little piece on the earring. So you have this. I'm gonna teach you two things in one, okay? So you're gonna cut out this little piece right here, so you have a C. It look like a C. All right. If you know you're not good at iron shit, you better use the same one and use it as a guide. Put it on top of the other one and cut out the little piece out the middle. All right. So now you got two C's that you done cut out. All right. That's your earring part right there. Now I'm gonna show you something because you got two different things. Now, if you need another cake for something else, you also got the Chanel symbol as well. You cut the little hole big enough, you got a Chanel symbol. Now that's if you a labor hole, you know what it is. Okay. All right. Now, so the little tools that we got, the little funded tools that I told you probably got laying around the house. If you ain't got these tools, you can also use the edge of a toothpick as well. It's gonna do the same thing, okay? So I'm gonna use one of these things. One of them. It don't matter which one you use. It's all gonna get the same effect, okay? All right. So what you wanna do is, y'all let me know if you can see this now, okay? I'm just gonna use something that you probably already got at home. All right. Let me know if you can see. All I'm gonna do is make a little indentation on top. Just a little indentation right on top. One, I'm just going around making an indentation all the way around your earring. Okay. It don't look like no earring right now, but it's getting there, okay? So look, so what you have, you see those little indentions on there. See them little the little grids on there? That's the earring, okay? You wanna do it on top. Now the same place you made the indentation at, you wanna do it on the side too. So that it goes down the side as well. I bet y'all thought this was gonna be so hard to make. All you doing is making a little indentation on here. Y'all better know that I'm very resourceful. I'm not buying nothing that I can make on my own. Okay? And if you got one of these little things, whatever they call them for flowers, you can use it too. So you just make your little indentation on the top and then do it the same thing on the side. So make it on the top, finish it off on the side so it goes all the way around the earring, okay? These are called bamboo earrings. These are the earrings that the girls used to wear that you didn't fuck with in school, because these are the girls that wore these earrings will beat your ass and beat your mom ass if she came to the school and said something. So you didn't want these the earrings for them type of girls, okay? So you just want to keep making the indentions all around. Make them all the way around Shaquita earrings, okay. So we got our earrings. We got our indentions on the earrings, okay? Now, again, we want to go ahead and get our stuff out the way, okay? Devin, you know you're a fighter, so you should not feel attacked. You wore these earrings too. So, go ahead and take your gold. I already got some mixed up. Now, this gold that I'm using is called Cuban Link by Gabby with GCC Confections. It's out of stock right now. She'll be restocking that later on in April. No, we can't buy nothing right now. They came from over there, over across the waters, because Corona Lynn is still got stuff going on. All right. So I got my gold. Clear off your space. You want to make sure you got everything out the way. You don't want that in your way. So you get you a little paintbrush so you can paint your earrings now. You don't have to be an artist for this, okay? All you doing is painting your earring gold. Now, when you're using colors like this, you want to use the part that's very, very pigmented. And when I say pigmented, I mean not the part that's loose, okay? You want to use the part of the gold that's like almost like gel-like, because that's going to be the point to give you the deepest color tone, okay? And you want to paint all the way around your earring, okay? Make sure you get all in the up part of the bottom of it and inside of that, because you want it to look as realistic as possible, okay? All right. I'm glad to see that some of y'all have learned how to use the features on here. There are a lot of features on Zoom. As you can see, somebody had learned how to put their screen up because I didn't turn that part off. So I know that y'all know how to work it now. All right, so we're gonna paint all the way around the earring, okay? Make sure you get inside of the ridges. Okay. I believe these are the same type of earrings that my friend Monique had on when she got suspended from school in high school for fighting. She was fighting in high school too, and she had these same earrings on. I just know it. Told y'all, these are the fighter earrings. All right, there we go. So we got all the way around, got them painted. Now, if you really want to get real creative with these, you know, you can also go in and make the little name plate. I done seen those done as well. You can get real creative with this. You already got, now you have the template to how to do it. This is just the basic part of it. Now you can get real creative with it and you can add to it, okay? You can make initials and put on there the little initial charms. You can get real ghetto with it. You put a baby daddy initials on there. Okay. So got those painted, okay? You want to move those and put them on something else so that they can dry, allow them to dry. So you can put them on a board or something just to allow them to dry. I'm just going to slide mine on here so that I can put them off to the side to dry. Okay. All right. So recap. We have made our earrings. We've made our gumball. And we've iced the first layer on our cake. Now we want to go back now and add another coat of icing to our cake. All right. We already made our black icing as well. So I told you the longer you let it sit, the darker it's gonna get. Now you can see it done got real black now. That's that jet black hair, okay? All right. I'm going to take our cake out. And now we're going to add another coat of icing on our cake. So the majority of this is going to be covered up because the cake part is our backdrop. So the white, and you can make this any color. So if you want to change it up and you want to make the cake hot pink or something, you can make it any color you want to. This is your cake. Again, I'm just giving you the template. And this also introduces you to taller cakes, taller cake layers. If this is not something that you're used to doing, if you're having tall cakes like this is a good introduction to that as well. Teach you something new. You can also charge more for it. All right, so I'm going to take this, my bench scraper now, and go around. Just going to remove some of the icing. Because you got that board in the middle, you can scrape both cakes to give it, if you do the top of it, if it's too tall, you can do the top because the board is your guide, and then you can go back and fill in where they separated. Okay. Now, normally I would try to get this on my regular cakes. I'd be wanting it to be real clean and smooth and all of that, but this is not the regular cake. I wanted it to give it more of an edge and kind of be a little bit different. So I don't have all of that smoothness. If you wanted to just be completely smooth, you can keep going over and over until you get it really smooth, the smoothness that you want. But I really wanted that more of a rustic look on here, because a lot of this is going to be covered up with gold, and the image is going to cover it up as well. So it didn't really matter what the backdrop looked like now, because I wanted my colors to be the main focal point on here. All right, so that's good right there. That's about where I want it. So clear your area off. If you're working alone, you want to get your stuff out the way, because this is where it gets a little messy when you start doing your backdrop on here. So remember, this part is your background to your image, okay? So if you have a fan brush or anything like that, this is where I use my little fan paintbrush because it gives the best splatter effect, and it also got my walls over here fucked up because I got color all over the walls over here too from doing this cake. So when you are, if you ever want to mix different colors for splatter, because we always see that gold is the backdrop for most splatters and stuff like that. If you want to use colored splatters, like I use black on mine, and tonight I'm going to use different colors as well for the splatter part. I'm going to show you how to mix those colors together so that you can get a nice, get different colors and not just gold. Okay, so if you know I use Everclear. Everclear is going to be the best thing to mix colors with. Okay, so it's already in my gold. So you don't have to worry, that part is already colored. So I'm gonna get a little bit of some pink, some hot pink, and I'm gonna use that as well. So what I do is I take my top, okay? I got you, Mo. I take my top. I just put some color inside of my top, okay? And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of Everclear to the top. I ain't finna be dirtying up all, you don't gotta dirty up no dishes and all that. You just use what you got right here. It's gonna go back in there anyway. All right, I just add a few drops in there. That's it. Just add a few little drops. You don't need much. Just a tinge. Okay? Now, I'm mix this in just so I can get it diluted down just a little bit. Now I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna tap it. I'm just tapping the colors onto there and I'm flicking the colors on. Now, you can use a small brush. You can use a larger brush. I'm gonna use one of the fan brushes for gold and I use one for the color. All right, so I'm going to use this one. As you can see, it gives a nice colored splatter. And all I'm doing is just tapping it on here. And you can use any colors you want, any color combinations you want to. Make sure that when you do this, that you get your board as well. The board is part of the design. Do not forget the board. Okay? Now it's gonna get messy, so if you want to put something down, you can on your table or your work surface. Now I'm gonna take my gold and do the same thing. And remember, this is just your backdrop to your image, okay? All right, I told you to leave your top like it was because we were gonna go back and add the paint to that. So I'm gonna paint the top of the ridges, and all this does is just gives it a little bit more character. What I did was I used the top ridge as her crown, and it was like her crown. Now you can make a crown and put on there, but I left the ridge on there to symbolize the crown that she was wearing as a queen. Now, just because I don't want to be with no woman, I still consider all my black women queens. So I want to make sure that she's represented well, even if her name is Shanika. All right, so I'm going to edge all of this up. And I'm using all of the ridges, everything with a part that looks like it wasn't all the way in there. I'm using that as well. So some of you can see the unevenness on the buttercream, where I told you don't smooth it all the way out. Don't try to worry about getting it all the way smooth. It plays into the design. And you can use your brush to kind of push it up a little bit to give it a little more of a raised look on there, because you want to brush the inside of it as well. Because of course people gonna be looking at the inside of the cake. They're looking at it from the top part. Ain't nothing on the top, so you don't want to forget that part. All right. Y'all with me so far? You can type yes in there if you still with me. I told you this was not this wasn't hard at all. I absolutely love this design because it doesn't have to be perfect, y'all. It really does not have to be. It's meant to, the image itself is your statement piece, okay? That's what you're making your statement from, the image itself. All right, so I'm gonna sit this back in the refrigerator now for a few more minutes because we want to let that part, what we've done, just dry a little bit. Now, I want to clear off my area because what I want to do next is I know everybody doesn't have fondant molds and stuff like that, but I still want to be able to show you how to use a mold if you do have one, or if you do go and purchase one, how to get your stuff out of a mold, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull one out. I got one here, the exact mold that I used on this cake. You can get your molds from anywhere, wherever you order your mold from, on Amazon or AliExpress. You know, y'all use everywhere to get them. Lavender, Cake Shop, all the places. I got this particular mold years ago when I was at SoFlo. So, all right. So you want to clean off your work surface. You definitely want to. Well, I know I need to, because I got color everywhere. And that's what happens with that splatter effect. Now, this works much better doing this cake when you have the Sprinkle Me Matte plug. Okay. So much better to have a nice work surface that, you know, since you're doing a black cake, you know, you just have a black on surface to work on, you know. Just throw that out there. Those the people who ordered those mats, they're actually going out this weekend. I picked them up on Friday. What they have done with what UPS did was, when anything comes from overseas now, it goes through customs and they actually sterilize the package for you before you get it. So if Lynn was on there, she gone now, okay? Because they make sure they sterilize the package, which I did not know until this morning, because I was wondering why it was taking so long for them to get here. And they told me they go through a customs part and they sterilize the package before the customer actually get it. So I thought that was really nice. So we are trying to stop the spread of Corona Lynn. All right. I don't know if it's just that location we're doing or that all of them. All right. So I want to show you how to use a fondant mold while we let that chill right quick, because everybody's not a cake artist, I know, that takes these classes. So these little small tips like this can help you in the long run doing something else. All right, so you want to get your mold, whatever mold you're using, and you want to use some cornstarch in it just to get it dust out, so it'll be easier for you to get the mold out, okay? Now, on this part, I do not suggest, now this is my suggestion, I don't suggest using the Tylose powder in your mold unless it's something that's sitting flat on there that, you know, don't have to move. For this right here, the fondant, you want to be able to move it still, because I messed around and had used the fondant that I had Talos powder in, and then I couldn't move it. It ended up breaking. The mold, the actual design was breaking off, which I knew it was gonna do, but I wasn't working fast enough because I was running them out. So you just want to put your fondant into your mold, okay? And I just use something flat to push it on out with, okay? It's almost just like using a butter knife or anything with, because you just smoothing the fondant off of here. If you see that your mold is missing some fondant in certain spots that you scraped off, you can just easily go back in and press some more fondant into the mold. It's not going to mess up the design. Remember that the mold got the design on the front of it. You ain't really worried about the back of it. And I use my scraper just to push the design in to the mold a little bit. All right, so now it just pops right out because you've dusted it, okay? And then you have your mold design for your cake, okay? Now you can use, if you choose to use a tip and you want to get a border on your cake, just want to use a border, that's completely fine. You can do that as well. But if you want to use a mold, feel free to do that as well, just to give it a little bit more character, okay? If you are working alone tonight, I would love to see your cakes. You can DM me your cake design that you finished on Instagram. I would love to see it so that I can post it into my highlights for this class on Instagram. That way it'll stay there. You can go back and review everybody's cake design and see how everybody did it. I'm gonna give you a grade on it, whether you passed or failed or not. I'm sure all of y'all passed. All right, so I'm just gonna roll this out again. All right, and that's it. That's simple as that. That's your fondant mold, okay? I just wanted to show y'all that on how to do a fondant mold. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put these on a mat so that I can paint them before they go on the cake. I'm just gonna sit them to the side right now though, so we can get back to our cake. Because we still gotta do her hair. All right. So get your turntable back out. You're gonna bring your cake back out, okay? There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and change my gloves because I don't want to get any of the gold or anything else on my cake design. I don't want to mess up what I'm doing. I already got gold all over me. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna get this buttercream off of here. I want to make sure you don't see nothing but the color on there. All right, so we're gonna take the image now. Find your front. I always say find you a front that you want it to be on, because that's where the image will sit at. All right, so this is gonna be my front. All right, so I'm gonna take the image and I'm just gonna put it in place, and it's got the fondant on the back, so it's going to stick to the cake, okay? All right, everybody see that? All right, good deal. All right, let's go. Let's go with it now. All right, we got our bag. So here is my bag. All right, So I am using, y'all asked me what this tip was. This is the tip that I had on this bag. I got this from Hobby Lobby. It's a number 21 tip, okay? So I'm just gonna put some black icing into my bag using my Sprinkle Me spatula for buttercream is what I'm using to put the icing in the bag. All right, put that in here, and my cake is sitting on the new Sprinkle Me round mat for your turntable. So all we're gonna do now, if you are used to doing rosettes, then this will come really easy, okay? Because all this is doing rosettes on here, okay? I'm gonna move this around so you guys can see. All right, so you just outlining the hair. Basically, that's it. So I'm just gonna make little small rosettes. And even if you can't make rosettes, you can make little swirls, okay? Because that's all I did was make little swirls. Okay. And to get the flyaways, as my natural sisters call it, the little flyaways that you have, all I did was just pulled away from it, okay? So you want to make sure you do all of your outline on it. Okay. And I'm just flicking it off. And remember, I told you yesterday that no matter how you want your hair to be, if you wanted her to have dreads or something, use a round tip, or you can use funded. You can get really creative with this. All right. All I'm doing is doing a little flicks on here, just to give it a few little flyaways, and that's it for the hair part. It's that simple. Now, I did for the highlights that she had. All I did was take my brush and I just used the ends of it just to give it some little highlights on her edges. What happened was she had her hair colored a while back, and then all the color went to the ends of her hair, you know, when she didn't get it redone. So that's why the color is on the ends of her hair, because it just grew out. She got her hair colored some years ago, and it just still stuck in there, child, and she never did color it back. Real simple. Okay. All right. So pull that back right there. Now I got mine. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on because I just did this with y'all. The mold. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it on here. On mine, because I wanted to cross the front. Now I'm not going to paint it completely gold. I just want mine to have a brushed effect, just an aged. I call it an old aged effect. That's the look that I want on mine. Okay. So I'm just going to use the ends of the brush just to highlight those spots on there. Okay. Oh, love doing this cake, y'all. I really do. All right. All right. So next part. Okay. Now I told you guys your bubble gum should be hard if it got Tylos in it already. So all I did was use the bubble gum and I just stuck it right through there. That's why you had a toothpick on there, so it goes through there, okay? Now I use my little pump brush. I have this little pump brush right here, and I brushed it with it just to give it a little bit of a glossy look. Then make it shine. Now I'm gonna show you a trick at the end that's gonna really make it look like it's really, really shining, okay? Real, real shining, okay? All right, now we're gonna take the earrings. Now, I had to argue about these earrings before because somebody told me they was in the wrong spot. But my argument is that her earrings was caught in her hair. So I'm just placing the earrings into these, okay? And I said the earrings was in her hair. I wanted them to be oversized because I wanted an oversized look to them. And you may have to kind of position them, you know, for your liking, or you can make them smaller. But I just wanted that look because I wanted to emphasize the earrings because I thought the earrings are really were appropriate for the time of the cake, okay? All right, so now I'm just going back in and adding little small details to it. Make you fill in any parts of it. Okay. Utilize all of. See, the thing about modern buttercream cakes, you want to highlight your imperfections. So the part that would really stand out to people, like this, people would think that you messed up on, or it looked like it wasn't frosted all the way. You highlight those imperfections because that's a part of modern buttercream. And it gives the cake a lot of character, okay? Boom, look at that. All right, so next thing I want to show you. This is a quick little tip for you, okay? Now, I don't know if you all have this. You may not have this product. If you do, that's great. If not, this is just an added bonus for you. That brush is called a fan brush. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean out my airbrush right quick, okay? I'm gonna use my Everclear to clean out my airbrush machine. And I wanna show you something really quick. This is just a quick tip that I want to show you. I'm gonna use this up in here. It's just Everclear up in here, so I'm just gonna spray it around the top of here. I want to get rid of this. I'm just cleaning out my airbrush with Everclear. All right, so Gabby has this product. It's from GCC Confections, and it's like a highlighter sheen, is what it's called. And what it is a pearl sheen. Now, if you can find this somewhere, it may be in your cake supply store. A pearl sheen is what it's called. You can use pearl sheen, but this particular one that she has is extremely potent. So what I do is I want to make sure you guys get enough light so that you can see this, what the effect does to it. I use it instead of using it on a brush effect. I use it inside of my airbrush gun, okay? And what it did, it highlights everything. It gives it a polished look, almost like the cake is fondant, and it finishes it off. So it's like a pearl sheen. And all I did was mix it with Everclear. Now I know that she said she's gonna be restocking this stuff, and you can use literally any pearl sheen or whatever, but this is what pearl sheen is for, to give you a finished look. And you want to highlight those areas that you've done. So it takes it from looking dull to just kind of finishes it off. And then, of course, you know, if you got your flash dust or your whatever you want to call it, your edible glitter that people call edible, but it ain't really edible, you can use that to give it a nice glitter effect as well. And that's it. That's your whole thing. That's it. That's the tweak. The name of the brush is a fan brush. It's just a fan brush. If you go to Michael's or somewhere, they usually have them. They're just little fan brushes. It looks just literally looks like a fan. I think it's like a little thin brush. That is your pop your cake there. All right, so I'm going to come up so that you guys have any questions. Hold on. Oh, the pump brush. It's called a pump brush.